Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome to day 19 of Ramadan with Hayat Academy. This is your Tafsir session. We are doing Surah Al-Mulk, and today, inshallah, we will look into verse number 19 of Surah Al-Mulk. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. أولم يروا إلى الطير فوقهم صافات ويقبضن ما يمسكهن إلا الرحمن إنه بكل شيء بصير. Have they not seen birds about them, spreading and closing their wings, with none holding them except the merciful one? He oversees everything. From this verse onwards, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is prompting us to ponder about few of the things that we are very familiar with and few of the things that we see on a daily basis all around us. It is very important to think about the things that we see on a daily basis, the things that we take for granted. And as a book of guidance, Quran very often prompts us to look around us, to look around the nature and understand the mechanisms with which they are working. And they are working in benefit for the human beings and all the creatures around us. So in this verse also, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is prompting us to ponder about what we see around us. Here in this verse is the birds. And the question raised is, أَوَلَمْ يَرَوْا إِلَى الطَّيْرِ فَوْقَهُمْ? Do they not see the birds above them? And do they not see is a question not exactly asking whether are you blind, are you not able to see, but rather do they not ponder about, do they not think about the birds that they see about them? And why birds? It's a very interesting question posed by the Quran. Do they not look at the birds around them? Birds are something which human beings are very familiar with. We coexist with birds since the time we remember, and it is something that makes the human heart tender. And when we see a bird, we feel something different. We feel a lot of mercy, and we feel in our heart a lot of sympathy and empathy, and all the very good feelings we feel in our heart when we see a bird hurt or wound, or when we see a caged bird, we feel something for the bird. And it is not only for the birds, rather, we feel for all the creatures. We have that feeling in our mind towards the creatures that are around us, towards all the animals and all the other creatures that we see around us. We have the curiosity in us, we have that. Mercy and kindness and generosity towards them. We have all very sweet emotions connected towards these creatures. And among them, birds are something that we coexist more often than the other wild animals and other creatures. It is on a daily basis we see the birds above us, and we take it for granted. And Allah here is asking us to not take things for granted, but rather uh, take a minute and think about it. Don't you see how they are flying? صَافَاتٍ وَيَقْبِضٍ. Safat literally means to spread the wings. Safat actually means to line up, or something which is very organized and lined up is sof. So safat is something that is spreading their wings. Wayaqbidan, qabad is something to hold or withholds. So spreading the wings and closing it. This is the mechanism of flight of the birds. They spread the wings and they close it, they flap it in order to fly. So Allah is asking, have you ever wondered how birds fly? And the mechanisms and the correct engineering behind the creation of the birds in order to let them fly from one place to another. And scientists have always wondered how birds started flying. And the evolutionary theorists, they have in fact come about with two different theories regarding the flight of the birds, how birds started flying. one of which is the arboreal model, in which they state that it developed by tree dwelling ancestors. Uh, they used their wings for gliding, and then they later started to flap it to extend their air time. So this is one of the theories developed by the evolutionary scientists regarding how the mechanism of flight came into being in the first place. Yet another theory is regarding the cursorial theory, or it is termed as the cursorial theory, which posits that flight arose in small bipedal terrestrial pteropods or dinosaurs, small dinosaurs that sped when they were fleeing or from their predators, or when they are pursuing their prey. They used to spread their uh, uh, the wing-like structure or their hands in front, and they started running, and hence they started developing the mechanism of flight. However, in the world of science itself, these theories have explanatory gaps, and neither of these theories adequately address the step by step adaptations that fully led to the flight mechanisms. So, this gap is something that is there. These are just theories. We exactly do not know how the creatures started using their ability to fly, or when did they start flying. It's still something that is dubious, and we are still not able to explain fully or understand fully how the mechanism of flight started in the first place. So here Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is not asking us to uh, think about how it happened, or how it developed, or the theories behind it, but rather Allah is telling that it is He who made it happen. That however it is, even if it is coming from an evolutionary procedure, or it is coming and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala creating the birds as it is from the beginning itself, or whether Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala let the birds come or evolve themselves from other creatures, whatever the mechanism that is working behind it, it is Allah who is behind it. Whether you explain it as a theory or the process of evolution, or whether you understand it as something unique, as the creation of the birds is something unique that is not that is not possible for any other creatures except for the birds and small insects. This mechanism, the idea is unique, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is behind it, however human beings choose to understand it. And Allah is telling, look at that mechanism, how they spread their wings and how they close it. And ma yumsikuhunna illa rahman, no one holds it except Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So this holding of the birds high above in the sky, this is a mercy from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is allowing the birds to fly from one place to another, and in turn for us human beings to mimic that mechanism and develop our own ways of flight and move faster from one place to another, or travel continents, cross continents using this same mechanism of spreading wings, and the mechanism of flight, or the airplanes are developed from studying how birds started flying in the first place. So this is a mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And this mercy is the one which is holding uh, everything in the universe together, including human beings. And these birds are there uh, for us to learn from, for us to enjoy it, and for us to take lessons from. Understand the mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and never feel depressed, or never feel sad. That you should understand the one who caused the birds to fly is taking care of the entire affairs of the universe. He is Ar-Rahman. So you do not have to feel sad about anything that is happening to you. He is all powerful that he even caused the birds to fly. And innahu bikulli shay'in basir. He is overseeing everything, meaning he's taking care of everything. And he is the one who is the Malik al Mulk, and to him belongs the dominion, and he is the owner of everything. So, with which he created death and life for everything, he created, with which he will cause the earth to sway and swallow up everything. He caused the birds to fly. So when you connect from the beginning to verse number 19, throughout the Surah Al-Mulk, we understand that Allah is very beautifully putting the things together, and for us to think, for us to sit back and think and understand our place in this entire system, for us to feel humility and humbled inside our mind, that we are a very tiny but beautiful and intelligent part of Allah's creation, this magnificent creation. And as the birds are playing their part flying, and we human beings have to play our part submitting to the will of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Just like birds, we know the migratory birds, they fly in lined up, and they fly from one place to another, and without a guide. Nobody is guiding them from, like, from which place they should go to which other place. Scientists earlier used to think that the bird flying in the front was the one which was guiding migratory birds from one place to another. Later, they found out the weakest one in the flock of birds were the ones who are in the front, meaning probably they're baby birds or someone who is very weak to fly, meaning that the ones in the front are not the ones that are guiding. And still, scientists are learning how all these things are happening. And when you look at it from the perspective of a believer who submit themselves to the will of Allah Almighty, when we understand the studies of the scientists and the people who are more knowledgeable in this field, we more feel humbled, and we feel the mechanism of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the magnificence and the beautiful mechanism of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in place, and we bow down, or we do sujood in front of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for causing all these things to happen. So this verse number 19 is yet another beautiful verse with which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is asking us to think about the things that are happening around us and appreciate the beauty of what Allah has created for us, and also to submit and surrender to the one who created all these beautiful things around us. So with this, we come to the end of verse number 19. Inshallah, see you all tomorrow with verse number 20. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.